We all know the NFL is a cutthroat battle of inches, and sometimes those teeny tiny inches can flip the script entirely. But what if I told you some players said, nah, forget about inches. I'm gonna change the whole dang game. These Mavericks didn't just follow the rules. They tore them up and chucked them out the window, forever changing the way America's favorite game is played. And folks, you better believe Ricky Williams and his luscious mane were part of this legendary crew. Ricky Williams, the 1998 Heisman Trophy winner, was famous not just for his football prowess, but also for his epic dreadlocks. These locks were so long that defenders couldn't resist using them as handles to tackle him. Fast forward to 2003, the NFL had enough and introduced the Ricky Rule, declaring hair as part of the uniform. Translation: pulling hair became a fair game. So if you thought short hair in the NFL was a disadvantage, think again. Imagine the pain players with long hair had to go through. No wonder he had to douse himself in marijuana before every game. And you know what's even more epic? The fact, in the wild world of football, even a victory celebration can become a game changer. We all know Brett Favre, right? I mean, he's the NFL's record-breaking gunslinger, the guy who could toss touchdowns like it was nobody's business. But, hold up. Touchdowns aren't the only thing he's known for. January 26, 1997, Super Bowl celebration o'clock. Brett finds the end zone, and he's like, I'm the king of the world. Off goes the helmet. He's sprinting like a champ with a grin that could light up a stadium. Now, here's where the plot thickens. Fast forward to the 97 NFL offseason, and boom, the NFL drops a bombshell. No more helmet-off antics, especially during those sweet touchdown dances. While Brett Favre's celebration stands out the most, it's often labeled as the Emmitt Smith rule due to the running back's tendency to take off his helmet after each touchdown. Now, who knows why the NFL enjoyed raining on our parade? Anyone? Oh, this move right here didn't just change the rules. It hit Jimmy Graham right in the wallet, too. Jimmy Graham was a college basketball star for the Miami Hurricanes. But somewhere along the way, he decided, hey, let's give football a shot. Fast forward a few years, and Graham's become a Pro Bowl tight end, a real multi-sport marvel. So when Jimmy found himself in the end zone for the New Orleans Saints, he thought, why not combine the best of both worlds? When he scored a touchdown for the Saints, he couldn't resist dunking the ball over the goalpost, just like on the court. But oh boy, the NFL was having none of it. They slammed the door on the fun and games by banning the goalpost dunks. It didn't end there. Jimmy got hit with a whopping $30,000 fine for doing his thing in a 2014 preseason game. But hey, you'd be dead wrong if you thought the dunkathon was over. Nah, we're not done yet, because just like Jimmy, we're all about those dunks. So I'm pretty sure you'd want to slam dunk that like button, and of course, give the subscribe button a little love tap too. Let's keep this fun train rolling. Now, Graham isn't flying solo in the let's add some dunking pizzazz to touchdowns club. Say hello to Calvin Johnson, the superstar receiver for the Lions. Do you know how he celebrated an epic spinning touchdown catch? Oh, just by pulling off a jaw-dropping 360-degree slam dunk over the crossbar. But hold up! Even after the whole dunk ban debacle, Calvin's not giving up the game. He's got a game plan and he's sticking to it. He boldly tells the Detroit Free Press, I'm still going to dunk. I just won't touch the rim. Now, it's all fun and games, but the NFL, they've got their playbook. They didn't draw up a brand new rule against rim touching during dunks. Nope, they decided to remix an existing rule about using the ball as a prop. So, here's the deal. If a player dares to dunk the ball over the goalpost, whether they touch it or not, refs are throwing a 15-yard celebration penalty flag their way. And how can we talk about rule changes without Deacon Jones? Deacon Jones was the pass-rushing powerhouse of the 60s and 70s. Now, this guy wasn't your average player. He had a secret weapon up his sleeve. Or, should I say, in his hands. We're talking about the infamous head slap move. But hold up. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's rewind to Deacon's hometown, Eatonville, Florida. There, he witnessed a truly heartbreaking racist attack on an elderly black woman. This fueled a fire in him to stand up against injustice. Fast forward to college. He joined civil rights protests and faced police dogs and high-powered water hoses. Wild! But you know what saved Deacon from drowning in anger? Football. He turned his frustration into ferocity on the field, becoming the kind of defensive end that made opponents tremble. And that head slap move? Oh boy, that was his signature move, his secret sauce. Now, Deacon was a bit of a rough and tumble guy. He admitted it himself in his autobiography, Head Slap. He left his mark on the game, literally. Opponents ended up with scars from his fierce plays. By 1977, though, the NFL said no more and ruled the head slap as illegal. In an interview, he said, "Football is a game of moves, a game of edges. I aim to create a weakness. I would slant, go for the angles. That way, even against two men, it wouldn't be a Mexican standoff. With my quickness, I'd make a move. The guy setting up across from me goes for it, but he's already beat. Now he's got to move backward. That's when I take him on. I'll go outside or reverse and cut inside." But you know who else was all about bringing pain and changing rules? Well, no one else but Roy Williams, the cowboy of the gridiron. This Pro Bowl safety from the Dallas Cowboys had one rule: tackle them at all costs, even if it meant putting them on the injury train. Williams had this signature move, the horse collar tackle. He'd grab a player by the back of the neck and yank them down, leading to some seriously gnarly injuries. Remember Terrell Owens? He got a broken leg and ankle, courtesy of Roy, in 2004. After that season, the NFL had enough of these rodeo antics. They outlawed the horse collar tackle. And now, players face penalties if they try this risky move. Now, there's something about tall people in the NFL. Morris Stroud was the NFL's skyscraper at a towering 6'10". While he might not have the most mind-blowing NFL career, he sure left his mark with some jaw-dropping special team actions. You see, Stroud was no ordinary field goal blocker. Most folks charge at the kicker and try to swat that ball away mid-flight, but not our man Morris. He had a different game plan. He'd camp out right by the goalpost, waiting for that ball to go through the uprights, and then, bam, he'd make his move. But as you can guess, the NFL couldn't just let that slide. They had to make a rule for it. The Stroud rule. It basically says, nope, no goaltending here. And the referee could even award 3 points for a palpably unfair act. But he wasn't the only tall NFL player who used his height as an advantage and ended up breaking the rules. Mel Blount was an NFL legend who was part of that ferocious steel curtain defense in Pittsburgh. This guy, standing tall at 6'3" and weighing in at 205 pounds, was an absolute nightmare for wide receivers. I mean, he made life so tough for them that few even dared to cross his path. So, what did the NFL do? Well, they had to level the playing field a bit. They came up with a rule, and guess what they named it? You got it, the Mel Blount rule. This rule said no defensive player could rough up an offensive player beyond 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. If they did, bam, defensive pass interference. And let me tell you, this rule shook things up big time, opening the door wide for the passing game to shine. But the smartest rule breaker award has got to go to Greg Pruitt, the former Cleveland Browns running back. He was all about those loosey-goosey jerseys. He'd rock them because, get this, when those pesky opposing players tried to tackle him, they'd end up grabbing a handful of jerseys, not him. Slippery as an eel, that Greg. But hold on to your helmets because in 1979, the NFL decided to rain on Pruitt's parade. They banned those easily rippable jerseys, taking away his crafty advantage. Suddenly, escaping tackles became an Olympic-level challenge for running backs like him. Poor Greg lost his secret weapon, and tackling in the NFL got a little less fun. Speaking of not-so-fun tackling, we all know that the NFL is a quarterback's league. Although there are many stars on the field, none sells tickets more than a star quarterback. With business in mind, the quarterback's safety is highly prioritized. In 2005, Carson Palmer was one of the NFL's rising stars in the golden position. He historically led his Bengals to the playoffs. However, the playoffs had a scary gift for Palmer. In the divisional round of the playoffs against the Pittsburgh Steelers, Palmer, on his team's first possession, found wide receiver Chad Johnson in the end zone for a touchdown. But when the team was done celebrating, they realized that their star QB, Carson Palmer, was still down on the field in pain. What happened? As Palmer released the pass, the Steelers' defensive big man, Kimo Vaughn, hit Palmer below the knee and tore his ACL and MCL. With one of the best young stars in the QB position out for the entire season, the league decided to take measures to prevent any further injuries. And so, the following year, the NFL made hits below the quarterback's knee personal fouls. But you know what? It's moments like these that mold the NFL into what it is today. You know the drill. Drop a comment about your favorite moment, and we'll catch you in the next video.